So I've been in Cancun for 3 weeks now. Most of my time here I've spent with family, staying at my aunt's house. But 2 days ago my brother and mother left to my home country, leaving me 1 more week of beach and party. Because my brother is not with me, partner in crime, I'm left without friends or party companions. So what do? I check Tinder. My friend often used Tinder in foreign countries to hook up, and that was exactly what I was looking for. After a day of swiping right and awkwardly trying to converse with the girls around me, I'm annoyed by how much I'm being ignored. I'm good looking and it's not difficult for me to hook up with any girl back home. What was it making it so difficult for me? I almost got to meet a girl, but me being preventive, I instantly knew it was a fake account. Friday night, yesterday, I noticed Tinder notifications popping up on my phone, and I unlock it. I see many girls are partying with their friend and just were more active looking for guys to meet at the club and whatnot. But nah, I don't want to end up drunk with a bunch of people I don't know. As I scroll through the messages, I see this profile of a really nice looking girl. Hi, she said to me. I noticed that her location read 2,356 miles away. Pretty weird being that my Tinder settings are set to match me with people 14 miles near. I googled that and that means she was near me when we matched, but probably was a tourist and left. Checked her profile and it was pretty genuine. Instagram linked, Spotify too. Her photos were really nice. Hottest girl I've seen in Tinder. Her description was nothing but a quote in some illegible language, probably some hipster or rock tattoo she had. And she looked to be kind of German because of her blonde hair. Either way, she said hi. So I go ahead and hi back, to which she responded almost instantly. Weird for Tinder, but whatever. Let's have a talk with some stranger. Suddenly I glance my aunt in front of me, all dressed up with her boyfriend. She told me she was going out for dinner. Have fun, I told her as they left. The Tinder girl, named Akantha, and I had a straightforward conversation. Where we live, hobbies, studying. Why am I in Cancun? She had just left Cancun a day before, until she asked weird question, do you want to hook up? Like, of course I want, but she's in Greece or whatever and we're 2,000-ish miles apart. So that's exactly what I answer. What would your girlfriend think of that? She asks me. My heart skipped a beat and I felt cold sweat in my brow. I'm puzzled as I think. Yeah, I have a girlfriend, but how could she know? Had I been tricked by my girlfriend in some kind of way? And suddenly I just think, you fool, she must be joking. So I casually respond, I wouldn't be on Tinder if I had one. Oh really? So what does the name Brooke Benson mean to you? My blood ran cold. I've been actually tricked in some way, somehow. Who are you and how do you know her? I asked her. Oh, you know soon enough. I close the app and go straight for my girlfriend's chat. She supposedly went robbed early, so the last message from her had been 2 hours ago. Time zones and everything, it should be late for her. It was 11 p.m. for me. I decide not to put myself in the spotlight and just not talk to this Akantha until I talk to my girlfriend tomorrow morning, and immediately went to sleep. My phone started to buzz with Tinder notifications on top of my glass table. I opened my eyes to the black of my room, watching my phone vibrate. I unblock it and open up Tinder. Bunch of new messages from Akantha. I take a look at the top of my screen and shows 2:56 a.m. Weird messages they were, all separate. You should be careful, Matthew. Infidelity is not a joke. Poor Brooke all alone at home while you try to fuck other girls. I'll make sure your pretty face won't be the same. Pretty boy I got scared and just wrote, please stop. No, pretty boy. This starts now. I block my phones. This got to be a dream. I go for a cup of water, go back to bed. I notice my aunt isn't back yet. Weird. She must still be out, or maybe she slept with her boyfriend. More notifications. I open up Tinder and see her profile has changed. No photos now. Just a black picture. No Spotify or Instagram account linked. Just her location. To my surprise, it no longer read 2,356 miles, but 1,566. Goosebumps in my back. I proceed to see her message wait for me. 1,201, 1,023, 862. A chill goes through my back as I stare at my phone. Staring hard and just seeing the numbers change in front of my eyes. 250, 100. I'm frozen. I could move if I wanted to, but fear had crept in my bones so hard it made me clutch my phone as hard as I ever had. Cold as stone. 0. Everything grows quiet. I am not even thinking. I can only hear the strong wind in the trees outside the house and the screeching of my room's door. As I slowly turn my head toward the door, I define the shadowy figure of a woman. I follow her feet, legs, waist, chest, and finally get to her face. I could see nothing but a pair of white eyes, bright as a full moon but with big black pupils staring at me like knives, going through my head like a bullet. I lay frozen, staring. I think there's something wrong with my Tinder date. I didn't have high hopes when I signed up for the notorious dating site. I heard the stories from all my friends about the type of self-entitled pricks they continuously wound up on dates with. After my husband, Max, had passed away 5 years ago, I'd sworn off dating altogether anyways. Gone were the days of going to bars with my friends, scouring the crowds for any other poor single souls to mingle with. Instead, I'd spend my evenings curled up in bed with an old sweater of his, a towel, a sock that finally appeared in the dryer again. But as time goes by, the pain of grief lessens from a stabbing open wound to a deep-set soreness, one that you know is always going to be there, an old war scar or a phantom limb prodding at your memories. After 5 years, my maid of honor Laura had decided to stage an intervention. She'd come over a few nights ago well after I'd expected any visitors, not that I had many these days, but still. I was sitting on the couch trying to catch up on the newest episode of Loki and searching the recesses of my brain for the references that were being made. If Max had been there, he'd have answered my questions before I even thought to ask them, but he wasn't. A knock on the front door sent my startled tabby cat skittering off my lap and behind the couch for safety at the unexpected arrival. Hold on, I called, jumping to my feet and padding over to the door. I couldn't suppress the smile that touched my lips as I saw Laura standing there, 2 bottles of wine in hand and what I could only guess was a gallon of margarita mix under her arm. This wasn't the first time she'd shown up unannounced in an attempt to swindle me into going out with her, and I thought my continued rejections had finally gotten through to her when she finally stopped speaking to me altogether about a month ago. Laura, hey, it's good to see you. Are you okay? I asked, hesitating on the last word as I looked my best friend over. She was the type with a taste for flair, and when I'd gotten a glimpse of her wardrobe when we'd shared a dorm in college, much of it had remained unchanged: short skirts, tight dresses, and heels you could commit murder with. But tonight, she sported a pair of yoga pants and a pink v-neck that complemented her long strawberry blonde hair, which was braided in a neat plait over one shoulder. Laura grinned, pulling me in for a one-armed hug. I will be, soon as my best friend lets me in for a girls' night. Without waiting for a response, she slid past me and made a beeline for the kitchen. By the time I closed the door and caught up with her, the drinks were already flowing and a glass of wine was waiting on my counter for me. A few giggly hours later, when both wine bottles lay empty and my brain was nearly frozen from the icy margaritas, we sat on my couch discussing Lara's latest catch. Casey, I swear, this one's different, she exclaimed, sipping her margarita. He's nothing like John. She paused, allowing both of us time to throw up a middle finger salute to the apple that had broken her heart and her ribs. Sanjay is sweet and caring and he has a great job. I think he's planning on introducing me to his parents soon. She giggled. I smiled, one of the rare genuine ones. I'll believe it when I see it. Gotta make sure he's good enough for my baby girl. I laughed softly. So, where'd you meet Prince Charming? As soon as I saw the gleam in Lara's eyes, I knew I'd been baited. Well, we actually met online. After John the First wanted to get over him as fast as I could, which usually meant by getting under someone else, and her smirk didn't deny it, so I gave in and made a Tinder account. I was only looking for a fling, but then Sanjay and I matched, and we started talking. And then we kept talking, and he took me out. I can't even tell you how nice it is to be with someone who actually cares about me, not just what I have. I nodded along, looking down at my drink. I had that once. My tumultuous thoughts must have been clear on my face, because Laura scooted closer to me and wrapped an arm around my shoulder. You should make one too. I blinked. Make what? A Tinder. Duh. I shook my head. No way, Laura. You know I'm not. I can't. Laura set her glass down with determination, turning to give me her best no-nonsense look. Casey, it's been 5 years. It's time to move on. Max would want you to. He'd be devastated to see what this has done to you. I flinched slightly at her words, at their accuracy. She'd been the one to introduce us, and had known him just about as well as I had. Come on, you don't even have to use it. Let's just see what kind of weirdos you get matched with. She laughed, and it was a contagious one. No sooner had she made the suggestion, we were both hovering over my phone, swiping left and right like we were shopping an online catalog for a new fridge. Which brings us here. Against my better judgment, I'd let her set me up on an actual date. We'd been swiping and drinking when Adam's profile had come up. His warm brown eyes had jumped out at me immediately, the curls that fell messily across his forehead charming when paired with a brilliant smile he flashed the camera. He was a dentist with his own practice in the next town over, and his interests included hiking, camping, reading comics, and going to the movies. Laura swore he was perfect for me, and I was having a hard time disagreeing with the alcohol flowing so freely. So there I sat at a table in the cute little bistro we'd chosen to meet up at. For the first time in over 5 years, I dug out my makeup bag, fretted over my royal blue blouse and jeans for an hour, and curled my umber locks, which now bounced just above my shoulders as my light bounced anxiously. I was way too early, but I'd wanted to pick the table, close enough to the door in case I needed to make a quick exit, but a straight line to the bathroom in case my tears needed to make a quick exit from my eyes. Had to have my bases covered. You know, the bell above the door jingled happily, combating the sloppy raindrops splattering on the window behind me. I turned my head towards the noise, and my anxiety melted away as soon as those chocolate pools made contact with my own slate eyes. Adam smiled and gave me a wave, and I could feel the butterflies in my stomach as the cheery presence approached me. He held out a hand for my own, which found its way into his as I sat dazed by that dazzling smile. "Hey, Casey, right?" At a loss for words, I nodded, my cheeks already reddening slightly in embarrassment at my reaction to that honey-coated voice. "Wow, you're even prettier than your picture." He took the seat across from me with a nervous chuckle, running a hand through those short curls that had fallen haphazardly across his forehead. "Sorry, I know that's so corny. I just wasn't expecting anyone to actually be here, let alone the person I expected." He gave me a nervous smile, explaining his own similar feelings towards the app that had brought us together. And then, as Laura and Sanjay had, we talked some more. We'd agreed to meet at noon, and before I knew it, the moon had taken its place in the sky above us, and the bistro emptied out. I couldn't believe the hours I'd lost track of, talking about everything and nothing at all. In fact, I can't quite remember just what we talked about, just that I'd instantly felt so comfortable around him, that dazzling smile and the warmth of his eyes creating an enchantment I had fallen under. When the waitress placed a check on the table and informed us the restaurant would be closing soon, Adam turned to her, apologizing for keeping them so late and for losing track of time. As he made small talk, I blinked, looking around the silent bistro. I gulped, shaking myself as the guilt set in. Guilt for actually enjoying myself without Max. This wasn't right. I needed to go home. I stood suddenly from my seat, the spell broken. I think I should head home. I didn't even realize what time it was, I babbled, grabbing my jacket and purse hastily. As I scrambled to gather my belongings, I felt a firm hand on my arm. "Hey, it's all right." I did too. "Why don't I walk you home?" Adam asked as the waitress walked off to run his card. I jumped a bit in surprise and shook my head. No, it's all right. I've kept you long enough. I winced slightly as the hand on my arm tightened, fingers digging into my skin. I looked at Adam to demand he get his hands off of me, when he flashed me the dazzling smile again, his hand easing up. "It's no trouble, really. If anything, it's a selfish attempt to impress you enough for a second date." He laughed, smile still in place. I was about to shake my head and insist I could call a cab when it felt like all the air in my lungs had been sucked out. A damp chill seemed to seep into the air around us, leaving my skin feeling clammy as I struggled to remember what I was saying. That smile was so captivating, wider than should have been possible, reaching up to those chiseled cheekbones. His pearly white teeth flashed from behind his supple lips, so bright they were almost blinding beneath the fluorescent lighting, and seeming large enough that I could see my own reflection in them, like a deer caught in the headlights. "Here's your receipt. Y'all have a great night." The waitress chimed cheerily, handing the checkbook to Adam. I blinked, reaching for my purse. "Oh, I'm sorry. I should have gotten that. At least let me leave the tip." I blushed, feeling guilty and off balance all at once. "Don't worry about it. Maybe next time." Adam smiled and winked, and I found myself unconsciously smiling back. We fell back into easy, casual conversation as he walked me the few blocks back to my place. Our steps fell into time so seamlessly you couldn't tell who was leading who. Before I knew it, we were standing in front of my door, the dreary weather from earlier cleared up and allowing the stars to twinkle above us merrily. "I had a really great time, Casey. I hope we can do this again?" Adam asked, and I found myself nodding before I even realized it. He chuckled, his cheeks reddening as well as he blushed cutely. "Here's my number. Sorry. All I had on me was a business card." He handed me the small card with a handwritten number scrawled hastily on the back. As our hands touched and our eyes met, he leaned in and brushed his lips across the corner of my mouth gently. "Until next time, have a good night, Casey," he said softly. I nodded, inhaling sharply as I felt a sharp pain on the corner of my bottom lip. I lifted my fingers to my mouth, blinking at the bright crimson that dotted the tips of my fingers. I looked up for Adam, but he was already gone. Did he bite me? I hastily unlocked my door and slipped inside, deadbolting the door behind me. My heart raced and my knees felt like jelly. I made my way to my bedroom, feeling dazed, and curled up under the blankets to rid myself of the chill that sunk to my bones. But I haven't been able to shake the feeling that something's not right here. Is it the guilt I feel for betraying my late husband? Or is it this mounting dread just nerves for our upcoming second date? I always considered myself an ordinary guy, and nowadays, who doesn't use dating apps? Please don't judge me. I've tried the conventional ones like Tinder, Bumble, and even some more niche ones, like the one based on the MBTI system. However, none of them seem to bring results. Maybe that indicates the problem is with me. That changed when a strange ad popped up while I was browsing the internet. Blood type match. Find the connection that's in your blood, the slogan said. It was a dating app with a twist, based on a legend in Japan that a person's blood type influences their personality. Zodiac signs with a more fun touch. Curious, I decided to give it a chance. I created my profile, answered some questions about work, habits, and, of course, my blood type. After that, the app started an intriguing presentation about how soulmates were connected through blood, with a beautiful shadow theater-style animation. So far, this had been the app with the best aesthetics I had ever seen, and it was confirmed in the layout displaying profiles. The standard swipe right for yes, left for no. but the minimalist icons and the color scheme with red, black, and white gave it a promising mysterious vibe. I must have spent about 10 minutes swiping through profiles until I came across a goth girl with a charm that intrigued me. Her profile said, username, Akiko, age, 27, blood type, O+, occupation, IT professional, hobbies, urban photography, board game nights, lover of books and cozy cafes. Profile description, hi, Akiko here, a tech enthusiast working in IT, compiling codes by day. At night, I'm an urban explorer, capturing the essence of the city. I love board games, and if you enjoy fun nights with friends, we'll definitely get along. I'm also an avid reader, so if you have any recommendations, I'm all ears. I'm here to meet interesting people and maybe find someone to share laughs, stories, and a good cup of coffee. If you value authenticity and are willing to embark on everyday adventures, let's chat and see where it takes us. She was undoubtedly a girl out of my league. Don't get me wrong, I don't have low self-esteem, but I'm realistic. A beautiful girl with a good culture and fascinating hobbies wouldn't match with a guy from the countryside. I don't know why, but something motivated me to swipe right. Who knows, I thought. And shortly after, I got my answer. A notification from the app saying, Akiko, hey, I think you put the wrong blood type. You're definitely an A+. I laughed. Our conversations after that were fascinating, and she seemed like the most interesting person I had ever met online. I confess that I even looked forward to getting home to catch up with her, as she seemed quite busy at work, and we could only chat at night. And I admit I lost some hours of sleep with that, making me look like a zombie in the morning at work. As the conversation went on, she invited me to meet up. Akiko suggested a date at her place, a glass of wine on a quiet night, maybe some board games or a movie. I eagerly accepted, excited to finally meet her and almost not believing my luck. I arrived at her house, a colonial-style townhouse that matched her style. I rang the doorbell as her voice responded from inside. Coming inside, the atmosphere was as expected. Various decoration items, some metal crosses, cat figurines, and potted plants. Awaiting us on the arm of the sofa were 2 wine glasses. We started drinking while our conversation flowed, I dare say, even better than online. I was on the 3rd glass, I think, when she, a bit tipsy, approached me. She stumbled as she fell into my arms. Oops, careful, are you okay? You know, Mark, you're really my type. I felt the heat rise in my face as my brain processed her words. This warmth dissipated when she opened her mouth, revealing a pair of sharp teeth, moving towards my neck. I pushed her face away with my hand as I stood up, heading for the exit. My hands trembled as I desperately searched for the doorknob. Akiko kept advancing, with faster and more predatory steps. It was as if her human facade was crumbling, revealing her true nature. You should feel honored, Mark. It's not every day that I choose someone like you to be my feast, she said, her voice echoing with sinister coldness. Finally, my hand found the metallic lever, and I opened the door forcefully, running out of the house. The night air was chilly, but adrenaline surged through my veins as I ran through the deserted streets. I could hear eerie laughter echoing behind me, indicating that Akiko was chasing me. Her demeanor now revealed a creature that didn't belong to the world of the living. A fey-like nose, long pointed ears, and a mouth full of teeth. I kept running. The streets seemed to stretch infinitely, and darkness closed in around me. The creature that once seemed to be the girl of my dreams was now a nightmare, and I was desperate to escape her hungry claws. The sound of her quick and sinister footsteps echoed through the narrow alleys that led to my house, and I knew my time was running out. The shadows seemed to dance around me, laughing at the irony of fate, of the beast chasing me now seeking my blood. Gradually, the sounds faded away until I saw Akiko no more behind me. The feeling of terror still pulsed in my veins as I reached the safety of my home. I locked the door hastily, leaning against it as I tried to catch my breath. I ran upstairs and locked myself in my room, where I am now. Still trembling, I picked up my phone to vent and write this post. But before I could start typing, a notification popped up on the screen, and my blood turned to ice as I saw the blood type match drop icon. Akiko, aren't you going to let me in? But how could she? I lifted my gaze to the window of my room and, looking outside, a shiver ran down my spine. There she was, Akiko, smiling at me with eyes that seemed to reflect the moonlight, her thirsty mouth twisted irregularly. What was even scarier, perhaps, was that my room is on the 2nd floor. I don't know if she'll leave, if she can come in, and is just having fun with me, or some other sinister hypothesis, but as I write, alternating between the phone screen and her eyes, I begin to feel a strange desire, perhaps that it would be better if I opened the window and let her in.